admirable commitment to public service, his testimony, and his experience securing resources for disaster response and recovery suggest that he appreciates the dire consequences that natural disasters wreak on red and blue states alike. I hope Mr. Teller will carry this lesson forward and ensure that the Corps executes its mission objectively and without political bias. I will also support Sean McMaster to lead the Federal Highways Administration. First off, I appreciate DOT moving expeditiously to obligate funds to hundreds of previously awarded discretionary grants. As I've said, I don't think the grants ever should have been paused or frozen. But on the other hand, the previous administration should also not have left thousands of awarded but unobligated grants. One unresolved item is the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program created in our bipartisan infrastructure bill, which remains frozen. DOT has assured my staff that draft guidance for NEVI will be released in 2 weeks. Based on this assurance, I will vote in favor of Mr. McMaster's nomination, but that support in committee will evaporate on the floor if the draft guidance doesn't appear or is unworkable for states. I am trusting at this point. Progress like this is key to Democratic support for a highway bill next year, so I'm doubly happy to see steps going in the right direction. Lastly, on John Busterud, I will vote no. When we heard from these nominees on May 14th, I warned that EPA was a mess. It remains a mess. Administrator Zeldin continues his brazen, polluter-driven assault on clean air, clean water, and a safe climate. He has made it his mission to blockade illegally, congressionally authorized and appropriated funding. His performance has utterly belied his promise of being responsive to Congress. The Environmental Protection Agency has become the Polluter Protection Agency and a swamp of corruption. Whatever this individual's personal merits, I cannot support this nominee for an agency so dishonorably in the service of polluting interests. Word about the Republican reconciliation bill. Last week, the EPW title was released. Unfortunately, it included a raft of rescissions, a repeal of EPA's emission standards for cars and light trucks, a pay-to-play scheme to expedite permitting, and a 10-year suspension of a fee on excess methane emissions, much of it in violation of reconciliation rules. None of this is good, but let me focus on the methane fee. Methane is responsible for up to 30% of the warming we've observed. Fossil fuel production and transport are among the worst sources of methane emissions. Eliminating those methane emissions should be easy. It is true low-hanging fruit. Methane is natural gas. It's product. Producers capturing their leaked methane would have more product to sell. That's why an estimated 50% of methane emissions from oil and gas operations could be captured at zero net cost. Plus, more captured methane means lower prices for gas consumers. Remember that our methane fee only hit companies failing the industry's own leakage standards. Meet your own weak industry standards and you pay nothing. Only if you're among the worst do you pay a fee, based on your own excess emissions. Only the dirtiest companies would pay a fee, and only if they don't hit their own targets. Plus, we had a deal. $1 billion of taxpayer money went to industry to pay for cleaning up its own mess, and industry got a weakened methane fee. So everything about this industry behavior is dishonorable. For what it's worth, the Appalachian Basin is one of the cleanest producing basins in the United States, especially compared to emissions-intensive basins like the Permian. So the methane fee would help cleaner producers like those in West Virginia. Republicans now seek to suspend the fee for 10 years, having already used the CRA to end EPA's rule for collecting the fee. EPA also announced that it will ease enforcement efforts on methane, will suspend compliance deadlines for its methane regulation, and contemplates rescinding it entirely, the true pollute-for-free fossil fuel business model. I will take this moment to warn the industry. Have your fun today. This isn't going away. Satellites can now spot the leakers, so we can let the world know just how dirty and irresponsible your industry is. We can make sure people know how false the industry's declarations have been about methane emissions. We can make sure that the public understands the cost of your methane leakage, the cost in higher insurance premiums, higher grocery prices, higher electric bills, and reduced air quality, for instance, from Canadian wildfires again burning out of control. We can make sure people know you wouldn't even enforce your own weak industry standards. The industry has in recent months shown its true colors, and we will remember. Persistent industry corruption of the political process has brought us to this era of climate consequences. And the Trump administration's crawling servitude to fossil fuel polluters will only worsen those consequences. And as those consequences come to pass, there will also come a reckoning. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.